stars of this show are all of you, and because you chose to be here to help become better leaders, advocates, and change agents. And this conference, as you've heard, is sold out. It's the last in a series of 7. We hope that there will be a second series and subsequent series based on the demand. There've been 9 programs in 7 cities, and this roadshow has really sought to educate, empower, and connect nonprofits with the power of social media.
At Microsoft, we believe your cause is as unique as you are. That's why we support all kinds of nonprofits around the world with software donations to help them best serve their local communities. Together, we can help millions of nonprofits use technology.
So here we are at the intersection of technology, commerce, culture, and consumers that has really caused a seismic shift for individuals, for corporations, and institutions, and for communities. But the future is now, and we're still evolving. As Darian mentioned, there are no social media experts. We're all in this together, and we're learning as we go.
My own practice this year, one of my goals is to learn about content curation, both the practice and how to apply it in the nonprofit world. And one of the best ways to learn is to go to the experts and study them, interview them, read everything they've written about it. So I've managed to find the best content curator on the planet, Robin Good. He's in Rome, and he's graciously agreed to Skype in. So let's look at the definition of what content curation is. Content curation is like what a curator at a museum does, but with information. They find the best content for their audience, and they present it so it is insightful. Yes, so introduce yourself.
Yeah, got that.
Okay.
I'm a small independent publisher. I have got involved with web publishing already last century, at the end of the 90s, and started as an opportunity to express myself and get some greater reward from what I didn't get at my work, besides the money. So I really started doing this because I like very much to show people the things that I enjoy and like the most. So I'm some kind of natural curator, and I like to think that I come similarly from Robin Good. I come from the forest of Sherwood, S-H-E-R. I come as Robin Good from the forest of Sherwood, S-H-A-R-E, the place where people share things.
What do you think the value is for nonprofits?
I think it's a great opportunity to establish yourself as the authority or one of the authority in the specific area of interest you're working in. When there is somebody that knows about everybody else, look at the different players in a field of interest and pinpoint to the ones that are making good work, that are writing good stuff, automatically we perceive that person or that newspaper or that organization as being authoritative in that field because it's not competing with the others, it's overlooking and bringing to me the best.
One way that one of our speakers back in San Francisco, Victor Delant from Social Edge, put it is that if content is king, context is queen. And so I think that's so crucial that in this world, in this attention economy, as I said earlier, how can you add value?
As people, we really like to trust other people. Trusting organizations kind of intimidates us sometimes. But once you know that there's people behind that organization, it's much easier to trust the organization. This is really great for when you're looking for donations. I mean, why should somebody give you their money if they don't trust you? And 2, it can help you be resistant. Heaven forbid you have a time of crisis.
What do you do with email acquisition campaigns where people are only opting in to get whatever you're giving away at the moment, and they don't really want your email, and then they're either spamming you out or just, deleting your content?
Great first place to start with that, and as we did with our N10 contest, is making sure that the contest rules are very clear, that this not only is entering you into the contest, but is signing you up for future deals. And then certainly having your unsubscribe button clear within your emails, because the last thing you want to do is irritate somebody. But just kind of like you would do with any other way that you're collecting email addresses, just as general best practices.
there are a lot of organizations sharing their guidelines. This is Farah's grandmother, Nana Jewel. And one of the things that Farah loves to remind us all of is, don't post anything or tweet anything that Nana Jewel wouldn't understand. What would Nana Jewel think? WWNT. That's a pretty good social media guideline. And I hate to pick on the Red Cross. Is Wendy Harmon here? No? Wendy and I talked about this at a conference recently. So the Red Cross had a rogue tweet. The rogue tweet is in the upper left. Now, a lot of you earlier said you're using Hootsuite. If you use TweetDeck and Hootsuite and these tools where you're tweeting personally and tweeting professionally, this is the worst case scenario, right? Although I was happy to learn about the term getting slizzard. I never knew about that. But what I want, this is kind of like what every CEO is most fearful of, or perhaps, a variation of what they're most fearful of. But look at how gracefully the Red Cross handled it. We've deleted the rogue tweet, but rest assured the Red Cross is sober and we've confiscated the keys.
I think that we have really, at Save the Children, really embraced the idea that social media is a place where we need to be, as I said. We've also embraced the idea that in order to do this, you have to really give up some control. And that's probably one of the hardest things for your CEOs to deal with, because again, there's lots of risks and lots of things that they think about how it could go wrong, like the example we saw at the Red Cross. And you really have to embrace this idea that this isn't about us controlling the message. It's not about Save the Children putting a message out there. It's about engaging with people who are interested in the work that we do for children in 120 countries around the world.
আমরা অনেক খুশি এবং আমাদের এই খুশি তোমরা আমাদের খুশির সাথে শেয়ার হওয়ার জন্য আমরা আরো বেশি খুশি এবং আমি আশা করি এবং আমরা সবাই মিলে আশা করি আগামী 1 বছরের ভিতরে আমরা আরো 10,000-এর বেশি বাচ্চার চিকিৎসা করতে পারবো।
Thank you for taking the time first. My question is, when you were looking at your social media activities in the organization, did it come from you, or was it your social media and web team talking to you about it? Was it more top-down in the beginning, or did they convince you of it? How did that process work as far as actually getting everything going?
Yeah, I'd say it was actually kind of a mix. As a new CEO, I had really decided that this was something that I wanted to do, to open the organization up in lots of different ways. But one of the ways was to open us up in terms of getting more involved in social media and making this more of a two-way conversation.
Celebrating big news. I think as an organization, we try to be really humble, but sometimes it seems difficult to kind of tout your own successes. But what we found is that people really like it. They want to hear when we've helped 6 million students. They want to hear when we've funded 20,000 projects, whatever it is. They're very much invested in the success of your organization, and so you should make them feel like you're celebrating with them when something big happens. Two of the big lessons that we've learned is that, especially on Facebook and Twitter, which is where we're focused, things just don't work the same. People on Facebook respond to things that are respond to different things than people on Twitter, and so you kind of have to test. For example, we tried out trivia on Facebook and Twitter. On Facebook, people loved it. They wanted to answer trivia about how many projects were funded that week, or how many teachers we've helped. On Twitter, it fell flat. So it's really important to think of your communities differently and figure out what they like, because it's just not, unfortunately, it's not going to work on both spaces.
We advise that you be super upfront about what you're going to do with offline publishing permission. I mean, this user is literally giving you the keys to the castle. They're saying you can post to my Facebook as me when I'm sleeping, and that's a lot of trust. And so what we find is you have to be super upfront. So we've literally laid out in our user experience, if you give us this permission, these are the type of events we're going to push up there, and here are some examples of what they look like. And we found that to be helpful in getting folks to agree to do it.
The thing that was remarkable about this is that there's a very empathetic response. I think when you are prompted with these individual stories, and I'll give you an example, a really terrible example, I think underscores the need for this campaign and campaigns like this is in the upper left-hand corner. There's a young woman who wrote, Kristen, female, 17. My dad committed suicide in 2007, and I recently wrote about how much I loved/missed him on MySpace. People sent me messages saying that it was my fault and I deserved it. And they said, if I were your dad, I would have killed myself too. And then she asked the question, is that over the line or not? And 97% of the people rated it over the line, and I think even more encouragingly, there's these organic support groups that form in real time around these threads.
I am incredibly honored and excited to welcome for the first time ever in public Google's first talk about how nonprofits in particular can really use, can harness, and can leverage Google+, which has actually grown at a faster pace than Facebook even did when it first got off the ground. So this thing has taken off like a rocket, but almost in typical Google fashion, it's grown so quickly that a lot of us in the social sector are trying to figure out exactly what it means, what are the implications, and almost more importantly, what are the opportunities that this presents to us as nonprofit leaders and the causes we represent.
Picture is worth 1,000 words. How many words is a video worth over that picture, right? If you can have your founder of your organization engage with donors, engage with press and media, engage with potential volunteers, I really think that could help you guys achieve your missions. And it's a really cool way just to throw out a hangout, say, Friday at 2 p.m. we're going to have our CFO or our CEO or someone who had an amazing volunteer experience host a hangout and invite it out to your group. I think it could be a really cool thing for your guys' organizations.
Hi. Quick question. So in terms of if one is working with a website builder, do you have the ability to use Google Plus and Google Analytics? So if you're working with like an Intuit or a Vistaprint or one of those companies?
You're saying, is it compatible between the two?
Correct.
If you can change the site code on your platform, which you should be able to, Analytics plugs in, no problem. For Google Plus, I'm not exactly sure that question, but again, if you can manipulate the code on that site, you can add really anything onto it. You can link seamlessly the Google Plus page and your website together.
When I started at Charity Water, one of the very first things I did was dig into our Google Analytics and try to work out what's really resonated before, what can I learn from what the data is telling me. And when I found a lot of big traffic spikes, and a lot of them were when we launched major campaigns. We did a September campaign, we launched a big video. And there was one traffic spike we couldn't explain. So I dug in, I was trying to work out what happened. We couldn't find any reason. Most of it was direct traffic, it was Twitter, it was Facebook. And all the traffic was going to the story of Helen Appio, or Helen's story as we call it. This is Helen. She's from Uganda. Now, Becky Straw, who was mentioned earlier, she now runs the Adventure Project. She was Charity Water alumni, one of our very first employees. She wrote an amazing story from the field. When she went to Helen's village, she met a bunch of people who came out. Helen really struck her straight away. She was vibrant, she was singing, she was happy. Becky started talking to her because she was doing a field monitoring report. She was reporting on what had changed in this village after they received a water source from one of our partners. Helen told her many things. She said her kids were finally in school. She had the time in her day that she could work on the garden and work around the house when she wasn't walking to fetch water. But the thing that really struck with Becky was that she said, well, now I bathe so well. Now for the first time I feel beautiful.
People don't give to you, they give through you. Money is a medium just like water. And in particular, especially when you hear about some of the things that they're doing with the thank you campaigns, the other thing that Kay says, which is kind of a mirror image of this notion, is that people don't give to you because you have needs, but rather because you meet needs.
There are no exceptions to the rule that you must awaken the heart to arouse the mind. We are hardwired for empathy, but we have to be spoken to and we have to form connections in the right way for that to trigger into a generous act. And the good news is technology enables that in ways that were never possible before. But we have to understand what makes those triggers. We have to understand how the mind works. We have to grasp which side of the brain we should be talking to. We really need to understand what makes us tick. Because fundamentally, social media is about human connection.
What is your social contract? They've they've liked you. What you owe them now is something of value, not a request for $50, but some content that is engaging, that's going to touch and move them, okay? Once you get into a friendship with them, then maybe you can ask them to help you. And once you have that machine tuned to where you know that when people come in and like you, they'll get things that they're interested in and they'll start to be engaged. And engagement is the main kind of organizing principle of my comments today. Once you know that they'll become engaged and you know that they'll start responding to help, then you can turn on the rest of the engine, which is, let me feed more people into that. Once I have the engine working, then I can start to feed it with more people. Under pressure. That's a good one. It's got a little bass line and a beat. Okay. Let's see if I can do that. You want to help me?
I'm not sure. Go for it. Thank you to all these guys for making everything that we do here possible. Can I also ask Ritu Sharma to come up to the stage? Our Executive Director, Head of Marketing, Programming, Logistics. Thanks, everybody. I want to thank you not only on behalf of Ritu and myself, and not only on behalf of each and every one of these sponsors that made this program and this series possible, but I want to thank you on behalf of the tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people that you collectively serve. It's truly an honor to support your efforts, so thank you.